Let me first begin by thanking you for the invitation to this event on de-risking investment and trade for African micro, small, and medium enterprises here in Niamey. I wish to commend His Excellency President Mohamed Bazoum and the government of the Republic of Niger and its partners for hosting us and for organizing this important and timely event. Micro and small medium enterprises are critical for the economic growth of the continent. It is well documented that MSMEs are the backbone of production and trade in Africa, as the previous speakers have indicated earlier. We have seen a glimpse of this in the exhibition we inaugurated yesterday. Their potential to promote domestic-led growth in new and existing industries and to strengthen the resilience of the economy in a competitive and challenging environment is beyond any doubt. However, without a reliable source of capital and sustainable protection against socio-economic shocks, they are unable to make the investments needed for growth and take advantage of market access opportunities. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement will not be the proclaimed game changer for Africa if trade under this agreement is highly concentrated among large companies, as many of them constitute enclaves with insignificant linkages with the rest of local economies. The agreement is envisioned to deliver and foster inclusive intra-African trade, resulting in substantial development benefits. In fact, the empowerment of micro and small medium enterprises is critical to an accelerated implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. In this context, it is clear that significant efforts must be made to de-risk these firms, mitigate financial market imperfections, and address the inherent weaknesses and vulnerabilities of micro and small medium enterprises in order to boost the implementation process of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. De-risking investment and trade for African MSMEs requires a multidimensional approach and should be at the center of industrial and trade policy design and implementation. As we all know, Africa has about 80% of its jobs in the informal sector, which is the highest rate of any continent. Among all sub-regions, West Africa has the highest rate of 87% informal employment, followed by Central Africa with 78.8% and East Africa with 76.6%. The extent of informality makes MSMEs vulnerable as they operate beyond the reach of government policies, and when crises occur, it is the youth and women who are most adversely affected, since most of them are employed in the informal sector in our countries. Thus, formalization is an important step to de-risk African small and medium enterprises, but they need proper incentives. Benefits should outweigh the costs of formalization. In order to facilitate small and medium enterprises and entrepreneurship development, countries need to develop clear national strategies and policies, implement accommodating legal, regulatory, and fiscal frameworks, streamline the registration process, and create an environment conducive to growth by providing access to markets, financing, digitization, and capacity building. It is important that all stakeholders, public and private sector entities, as well as development partners, collaborate in developing and leveraging innovative instruments to support micro, small, and medium enterprise in trading under the AFCFTA. For example, through well-designed local content policies and national suppliers development programs, we can make foreign direct investment an instrument to foster the emergence of well-performing and competitive micro and small-medium enterprises. This is critical for securing a lasting social license to operate of large firms and their compliance with environmental, social, and governance factors and reporting, moving companies beyond the profit maximization paradigm. ECA and partners are working on the design phase of new inclusive bond products. The inclusive bond aims to provide affordable and sustainable finance to micro and small medium enterprises, informal and micro businesses. As microfinance remains expensive and limited to address demand for short-term finance, inclusive bonds could represent a complement to existing instruments. The upcoming bond will tap a large range of investment sources, including domestic and international institutions, investors, as well as national and diaspora savings. The state, development finance institutions, and beneficiaries will provide guarantees to reassure investors and reduce interest rates, while local microfinance institutions would handle loans to selected businesses with limited default risks based on consultations with business groups and cooperatives. Blended finance and the different tools used by DFIs and development agencies, such as loans, equity, guarantees, grants, and technical assistance, can support the growth of micro and small medium enterprises. A unique aspect of blended finance is that the provider assumes the riskier parts of the investment, which reduces the risk for others seeking lower risk and higher returns for their investments. When DFIs use those instruments, they do so in ways that adjust the risk profiles of micro and small medium enterprise to make them more acceptable to private investors. Financing tends to be inaccessible and affordable for African medium and small medium enterprises, precisely because of the high degree of perceived risk. First loss guarantee is one of the most common forms of guarantees whereby development finance institutions promise to compensate private lenders if a micro and small medium enterprise defaults on their loans. They also make private investment as attractive as public debt offers. These guarantees were particularly useful during the COVID-19 pandemic. These guarantees were particularly useful during the COVID-19 pandemic, as they allowed small and medium enterprises that already had loans to retain them. Nevertheless, micro and small medium enterprise should look beyond traditional debt financing solutions as their main external source for trade and investment funding. These inclusive value chain financial products, for example, trader credit, outgrower schemes, warehouse receipt systems, factoring, reverse factoring, contract finance, purchase order financing, leasing, equity and quasi-equity financing, and importantly, fintech solutions such as crowdfunding and peer-to-peer lending, to cite a few. For instance, ECA's recent field work and assessment of the financial services value chain in Nigeria and Togo have revealed the criticality of fintech solutions towards achieving inclusive and expanded trade under the AFCFTA. In Nigeria, the emergence of fintech has significantly improved the financial sector's competitiveness across the entire value chain of the industry, although more remains to be done to ensure financial inclusion. Furthermore, fintech has the potential to significantly contribute to women empowerment and financial inclusion. In fact, as documented in ECA's After Women Report 2021, women face greater exclusion from conventional financial institutions and products, with only 33% of women holding a formal bank account, compared with 42% of men. Importantly, the readiness of micro and small medium enterprise to participate in CFTA cannot be taken for granted. It must be assessed and strengthened. Adequate due diligence is required from all market players, including the micro and small medium enterprises themselves. This involves the identification of business opportunities, market opportunities, and most importantly, value chain integration at the national, regional, or global levels. To ensure active participation of micro and small medium enterprise in the implementation of the AFCFTA, they must be appropriately supported. We should ensure that they are conveniently equipped to navigate through the process of trading and investment across the continent. For instance, a good understanding of the AFCFTA rules of origin, certification requirement, services regulations, or trade facilitation measures, among other things, is essential. Trade fairs, like the ones we had yesterday, are an important platform for micro and small medium enterprises to prospect national, regional, and continental markets and develop business linkages. In November last year, ECA was able to support a number of micro, small, medium enterprises across the continent in participating in the second Inter-African Trade Fair held in Durban, which the Afrexim Bank organizes. There are immense economic opportunities for micro and small, medium enterprises under the AFCFTA, and these need to be known and clearly understood. African micro and small, medium enterprises can link themselves to more mature and larger corporations through supplier and outsourcing opportunities. They can then leverage these opportunities and learn from their experience to expand their activities and integrate effectively into global value chains. The ATEX, an initiative of ECA, Afrexim Bank, and the AFCA Secretariat, is a business-to-business platform which serves as a virtual marketplace for buyers and suppliers based on the AFCFTA rules. For micro and small medium enterprise, the platform can significantly facilitate their integration into value chains, reduce information asymmetries, and this is important, and help micro and small medium enterprise withstand shocks in domestic markets. Let me conclude by reiterating the importance of micro, small, medium enterprise growth for our economies. They are forceful impetus for economic diversification, inclusive growth, and structural transformation of the continent, expanding job creation and well-being, overcoming credit constraints and facilitating micro, small, medium enterprise access to affordable finance will be important for their growth, competitiveness in the context of CFTA, and to position them as engines of growth and diversification. I wish you all fruitful engagements during this event dedicated to the theme, and I thank you for your kind attention. Thank you.